Hello everyone, my name is Barbara and I would like to welcome you all to our latest Novedge webinar episode. In this week's episode, a first look at V-Ray 3.0 for Maya. Master Trainer Simeon Balabanov will provide an in-depth look at the newest features and improvements of the beta version of V-Ray for Maya. This version has already been met with enthusiastic reviews and feedback by CG artists worldwide. Simeon Balabanov is a 3D professional with more than 6 years' experience in the field of 3D modeling and rendering. Before joining Chaos Group, he worked as a CG supervisor at some of the biggest animation studios in Bulgaria. Before we get going, here's an overview of what we do at Novedge. Novedge is one of the largest online design software stores. We offer a huge assortment of software solutions that cater to virtually every designer's need. Put us to the test and come visit our webpage at novedge.com. And as you can see, Novedge offers a special promotion on V-Ray 2.4 for Maya. If you buy now, not only you save $250, but we'll receive a free upgrade to 1 workstation and 2 render nodes of version 3.0 when released, hopefully soon. To find out about V-Ray's events, galleries, and news, you can also visit the Chaos Group website at chaosgroup.com. For more rewards and special, you should always check the Novedge blog. Keep up with the latest software updates and enjoy inspiring interviews. You can also get daily software news following us on Facebook, Google+, and Twitter. Coming up next week, 3D light renderings with Vectorworks Spotlight. Using Vectorworks Spotlight 2014, we will discover how to light an environment in 3D space, and we will explore labeling, scheduling, and organizational features used to create a lighting plot. Last but not least, today's presentation is free and is being recorded live. If you want to rewatch this or any webinar episode, you can find it on our YouTube and Vimeo channel. Just search for Novedge. Okay, great. Now I'm going to pass the baton to Simeon, and it's his show. So Simeon, you'll be prompt to show your screen. We're all very excited. I'm going to grab my popcorn and wish you luck. Bye.
Yes, just a second. Okay, so can you see my screen already?
Not yet. We can see your screen. Yes, it is now. Looking okay. Great.
All right, thank you. So hello guys, this is Simeon, and I'm broadcasting from the Sofia office of Chaos Group. First of all, let me tell you that I'm very excited that I'm going to show you for the first time the beta of V-Ray 3.0 for Maya. As you all know, V-Ray 3.0 for True Studio Max has been released earlier this year, and now comes the version for Maya as well, where I'm going to show you all the new stuff that we're going to release. Generally, most of the things are going to be exactly the same, and I'm going to start with really something small. Which is the new installer. Since I don't want to install this right in front of you guys, I just have prepared a couple of screenshots. But this is the new interface, and it's designed to give you a quick way to reinstall or install for the first time, and then keep your settings when having to reinstall the product, and install really quickly. So the whole of the entirety of this process happens almost as a background process, and it's really easy to do, and it also has some pretty pictures made by our customers. So that being said, I want to show you also something new, something else. Since we wanted to just a second, since we wanted to show you to change the whole V-Ray experience, we launched a new, brand new website v-ray.com, where you can find all the relevant information and news regarding to what's going on with Chaos Group and what's going on with V-Ray especially. So here you can see at the first page we already announced V-Ray 3.0 for my public beta. So if I go here and take a look at that, if I click on the features, you will see a lot of detailed explanations about each and every feature V-Ray. For example, like the new skin shader and images made with this relative to the feature that that you have selected. There are videos here for some of the features, additional information, and so on and so forth. So make sure that you check this out. Also, with the start of with the release of V-Ray 3.0 for Macs, we released a new documentation system, which is provides a better, much better experience. We believe actually that it provides much better experience with lots of examples, with lots more renewed information. So go ahead and check this out as well. So without further ado, I'm just going to stress on a couple of things that are very important to me as an artist, since I am a 3D artist as well. And what I find more very important in a render is well, a couple of qualities, but the first one of them is speed. And we have addressed this issue with the release of 3.0, and we have improved our code. The developers went back to the bones of V-Ray and rewritten some stuff, optimized some things, and actually let me show you my frame buffer and show you. I don't need this one. So let's take a look at this image here. So this image has been rendered with a V-Ray 2.4. Let me show you the timestamp. So yeah, so here V-Ray 2.3, and it rendered for 59 seconds. So I have reopened, because I don't want you to wait, I have reopened the same scene here, and let me just double check if this is, so yeah, I don't need the gamma, and I'm just going to re-render this really quickly in V-Ray 3.0. As you can see, I have opened the same file here. So let's give it just a couple of seconds to load up and see the speed improvement. Of course, first we have to calculate the radius map, and probably you saw that as we near the completion, the completion of the image, the final buckets start to split up. That's something that that's called dynamic splitting of the bucket, and it's located right over here, dynamic splitting. And as you can see, by utilizing this thing, all the threads are being utilized until the very last moment. So there are no buckets that are waiting for each other, and especially in long sequence, you can save quite some time by utilizing all the threads until the very last moment. So now the time is 41 seconds. So let's save this and compare. So this is 1 and this is 2. So there are a bit minor changes in the sampling, since our developers changed how the sampling works. But as you can see, the quality is almost the same, and we have gained around 20 seconds. So 40 seconds and 59 seconds. This is around 20 seconds. So I would say this is around 30% increase in speed. And this is due to, well, the first reason I told you that our developers made some internal optimizations. And another reason for the speed improvement is something that I want to show you here. And this is use and If you take a look at the settings here, This is the user V, which I didn't turn on right now. So let's go ahead and render this with the user V option turned on, and see if this can give us a couple of seconds more. But for those of you who don't know, I'm just quickly going to mention VRay is actually a library of ray tracing algorithms that were developed by Intel Labs, and they were specifically designed for ray tracing and for faster calculation of ray tracing, which is essentially what we need in 3D. And you can use this by just checking an option here. The reason that this is an option is that some processors do not support the VRay, and
Simeon, we cannot hear your voice. Okay.
Processor support instruction set of SSE. Oh, sorry.
You're back. Sorry. You're back.
So the requirement was okay. The requirement for you to use VRay is that you have a recent processor which supports the SSE 4.2 instruction set, which is I would say in the past 3 years, every processor, workstation level processor has this functionality, so you will be able to make use of this. So this gave us also another second to this, so which is not that much, but depending on the scenario, if you have a lot of ray tracing, the speed improvement gets better. Okay, so yeah, we have around 30% improvement just like this without compromising the quality, with a little bit of change in the sampling, but that's pretty normal. And to me this is really exciting because there is no better news for a 3D artist than to make everything faster without sacrificing quality. Speaking of improvements in the speed, we have taken something else and something else in mind, not only the computational speed improvement, but if I open up the old interface of Maya, we can take a look that the VRay interface here was a little bit larger, and if we take a look at the settings here, so for example, let's take a look at the global settings. It occupies almost the whole my screen. If we take a look at, for example, the environment, we have a couple of slots here which take quite some place. And in order for you to save some space, to save some time by looking in the menus, what we did was actually remove the translator tab, which was over here, placed it right over here in the common VRay tabs. And as soon as, for example, you click on some of the checkboxes, you get to unhide a lot of the parameters related only to this option here. The same goes here, for example, for the global settings. As soon as I want to go to some of the advanced settings, I have this sub-tab right over here which says Global Options Advanced, and here I have all these advanced options that were otherwise cluttering my interface. So by just saving a couple of clicks looking for the menus, you get to get much more enjoyable experience. And based on our customer feedback, these settings were rarely touched, and you don't need them on an everyday basis. You just need to check them once or twice in a session. If we take a look, for example, in the environment, right over here, if I disable the environment, look how much nicer this becomes because we had lots of the parameters that are not relevant when I'm not using environment override. The same way for the environment volume, and so on and so forth. So we try to optimize and to make the VRay experience much better and much more enjoyable. So let's take it something else. I would like to open up the scene. And since I'm not looking from the camera, but okay, so let's take a look at this. Since iterating iterating between renders is quite a major part from a 3D artist's work and workflow, we decided that we might do something about this thing, and we introduced a new type of image sampling, and it's called the progressive one. So we still keep the old three ones, the fixed one, the adaptive, and adaptive subdivision, and we have added the progressive image sampler. Now, I would like to make a differentiation between the already familiar, I hope that you're familiar actually with the VRayRT engine, which was interactive render. This is actually not a new type of rendering or not a new render engine. This is just a new image sampler. And the good thing about this is that you still get to keep the production, this is actually the production render, and you still get to keep the goodies like using cached GIs, like the radiance map, the light cache. So you still can use this if you want to, but you will lose the interactivity, so to say. So if I want to render this, quickly render, I'm going to show you how this looks like. So this is pretty black and white image, and as you can see, the image gets refined as we speak. So you can see the noise becomes better and better. Actually, the quality becomes better and better, and the noise becomes lower and lower. What, however, I want to show is that now the track mouse while rendering still works, and I can sample this wherever my mouse is. So, and as you can see, yeah, wherever my mouse is, the samples go there more and more, and you get to see a refined image only on this in this localized area. So let me stop this and show you one of the things where the progressive image sampler is a really good idea. So let's take a look at the environment slot. And I will say I want to use an environment volume. And then I'm going to take a look at the environment list, pick up one, and just quickly do a rendering. And now, as you can see, something is wrong, and my fog doesn't go up all the way to the floor, or I mean, it reaches up to a certain level. So what I want to do is increase the fog height. I'm going to go all the way and quickly initiate the render once more. And now I see everything black. Well, this is pretty normal because no light is entering my scene. This means that the fog is too dense. So let's go ahead and make this some quite large, the fog distance. This means that I'm going to increase the distance in which the rays can go through, and I can see much more light. As you can see now I see the fog volume better. If I want to make this a little bit denser, I'm going to let's decrease this 3 times, render once more, and by this way, quickly iterating through different settings and initiating the render, I get to see my image immediately in just a couple of seconds and make decisions while the render is being done. Also, let's take a look at how the track mouse while rendering performs right over here. So you can see this is just like a refinement tool. So wherever I point my mouse, this is where the sampling happens. So yeah, this is a pretty cool way of only cleaning up the image wherever you need it to. And as soon as I'm ready, I can just drop this out and turn off the track mouse while rendering, and I can either use again the progressive image sampling, or switch to another image sampling. Now, the interesting thing about the progressive image sampling is that it gives you the ability to render in, so to say, so to speak, unbiased way of rendering. And the reason for this is that this render will keep rendering until it reaches certain quality by changing this noise threshold here. So by having it 0, this means that this will go infinite. And or on the other hand, you can specify a maximum amount of render time in minutes, and as soon as V-Ray reaches this amount of time rendering for this frame, it will stop and move to the next frame. However, you can combine both of these, and you can utilize this way. V-Ray will sample only where needed when we haven't reached the noise level threshold, and only for the given amount of time. So this gives you the best of both worlds. All right. However, I'm going to show you something new, which is really, really cool, and actually a really cool cool news, and really great news actually, is that now the RT engine under CPU mode is actually the same as the progressive image sampler, which actually makes it a progressive render, which is production, actually production progressive render. And to prove my point, I'm going to initiate RT right now. Just pay attention that I have it under CPU. Okay, so as you can see, all of the features are supported as well here, with the exception of irradiance map and light cache, since they are prepass based solutions for GI, and currently I'm not using any prepasses. So if I, for example, were to go and select this light and change its color to something yellow, you can see the change reflected immediately. And this way you can see anything. Anything will be much easier for you to develop your lighting and to change the settings, see it immediately in real time, and change whatever appropriate for you. Then switch back to the production render and move on with your scenes, with your light look development. Okay, so let's take a look at something else. Right, so let's take a look at this new feature. Often in the forums I have seen some of our users complaining about a strange artifact, also known as fireflies. And I'm just going to quickly render this and show you what I mean. Probably some of you have also seen this strange artifact, and this appears as some overbright pixels, like this one here, which are on blurry reflection surfaces. And this is especially true when you have a very bright light source and a glossy reflection or blurry reflection reflecting into each other, and like this case here, we have bouncing reflections, and they see this over bright light source. And this is really not that easy to fix, because you have to turn up the sampling or introduce some color clumping, which is not good, because you do want to keep your colors in the high dynamic range. So and the worst part about this is that it tends to flicker in animation because of the sampling. So we have thought about this and came up with a really one-click solution. It's located in under global settings, under global advanced here. You just enable clamp max ray intensity, and currently the default value is 10, so I'm going to leave it at the default value. So as soon as I initiate the render, and I'm going to zoom in again, you will see that these fireflies just disappear. So this is just a one-click solution. And the best part about this is, I'm just going to let it finish, or actually not right away. I'm going to open up the V-Ray color settings in the V-Ray frame buffer color settings and show you by lowering the exposure that we still get to keep the high dynamic range. For example, this really bright exposure, really bright spot here holds up of -5 stops of exposure, and all these specular highlights over here. So I'm not limited in any way to do any compositing right after this, because I still keep the high dynamic range of my image. And speaking about the color corrections in the V-Ray frame buffer, you might see them a little bit different, a little bit enhanced. And this is because we introduced new color corrections. So as well as the old ones, like the exposure, we have now contrast, much like in Photoshop. We have custom white balance, which you can change in the viewport, in the frame buffer. You have hue saturation, change all of these things, and if you make all the changes and you like them, you can go ahead and save a preset, which will be a localized preset only for this setting over here. You can reset this if you don't like this, and of course you can globally save all the settings here from here and load them later, or share it with a colleague or a friend or whatever. Of course, we have kept the old ones. We have also color balance here, divided by shadows, midtones, and highlights. We have the levels, the curves, and one really important thing that I would like to stress upon is we have now introduced a couple of new features, like the background image. So let's load up background image really quickly. Let's pick up some texture from the same. Okay, so let's take a look at this one and turn on the. And now, because my car has alpha and has some occlusion in the alpha, I can apply a background image and place my car in context and see how it will look as in a basic compositing. Also, another very important thing I would like to stress on is that we support now not only LUTs, but also OpenColor input-output profiles, which is really useful if you're in a compositing pipeline and you can get some OpenColor input-output profiles generated from the compositing department. You can load them straight up here, and you will see the exact color grading and the color corrections that are going to be made in the compositing. So you will see exactly what the compositor sees, and this will save you some iterations going back and forward. Excuse me, going back and forth in the process. So oh yeah, I almost forgot. One other thing that I wanted to show you here is that we have introduced a new panel here, and this is the lens effects. I'm just going to put them right over here, and I'm going to turn them on. This will generate, since this is a post effect, it doesn't need to be rendered again. But now this is generated on the whole picture, and this is something that I wouldn't like. So I'm just going to enable intensity mask, lower this to something like 1. So everything that is larger than 1 is going to generate bloom. Let's reduce, turn off the glare effect. The same goes for the glare effect as well. And let's just quickly re-render some of the bright parts of the image. Okay, I do see some of the questions. So I will try to answer most of your questions at the end. But since this is rendering, I can answer one of the questions. Why embry is not automatically detected? Well, the reason is that if you don't have is because that if you don't have embry enabled, or sorry, if your processor doesn't has the embry functionality, you might end up crashing the render because the ray tracing kernel is not available, and V-Ray will try to to use it, so this might crash the render. So this is why, yeah, this cannot be done yet automatically. So currently, if I increase the weight of this thing, you will see that I'm generating, actually this is quite large, I'm generating highlights, bloom only on the highlights here and there. And to be more specific, where I can switch from the lens effect to generate not only the image effect, but also render element. And if I go to my render elements, I can see the lens effect source, but then I can see the bloom masks. So this is the mask where the bloom is going to be generated, and only the bloom effect separately, as you can see here. So since this is this is kind of a basic tool to help you see how your render will look like with some basic lens effects, so that you don't have to send this to the composing department or switch application to see how this looks with some basic bloom and glare. We have given this control, but later on, if you don't like this, you can always just take the lens effects and one of the masks that you already generated, and use these to generate your glow or glares or lens effects or whatever you like. Not only the intensity is an option for masking, you have object ID or material ID, so only the objects using these IDs are going to be included in the mask, and only they will generate this glare or bloom or the effect. Okay, so let's move on. Let's take a look at something else. Okay, so let's take a look at something for the character artists. One of the speed improvements that we made was related to the hair material and how it renders with and without GI. So here I have a character with quite some hair, and I have my GI set to brute force and light cache. So I'm just going to actually let me open up my frame buffer quickly, and I have already rendered this in the old version of V-Ray. So let me open this up. And by the way, if you take a look at the render history, you might note that there is a green number on top of each thumbnail. This actually uses shortcuts, the number keys of on the keyboard, so you can quickly switch between the renders here and there. So for the first 10 renders. So this one, 5, was rendered with 2.3, V-Ray 2.3, and we have it rendered for 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Let me just increase a little bit the font size. Okay, so this is the same scene. I'm just going to re-render it. It will take a little bit to generate the hairs. And here, as you can see, this is V-Ray 3.5, 3.05. Actually, I'm going to disable the track mouse or rendering so that we leave V-Ray do its job. And since I can see there is a question related to the V-Ray fur and hair, to the rendering in hair and fur, you can see that I hope this does answer the question, which is how V-Ray 3 will help us to render hair and fur compared to the older version. Well, you will see the speed improvement for once, and as a secondary, actually as a secondary thing, we didn't change in any way our V-Ray shader, V-Ray hair material. It's exactly the same, so no settings are changed. You don't have to go and revise your old scenes. So it took 1 minute and 13 seconds. And let's compare that to the old one. So let's save this. to here. So again, a little bit of changing in the sampling, but otherwise no speed, no quality degradation, and only speed improvement. Okay, so and it's almost twice faster than before. Again with GI and everything. While being at character-related topic, I'm just going to take a look at something else, like this one. And what I actually want to show you is this really, really nice character. But what I want to show you actually first is its shader. And if you take a look at the shader, it's actually this one, the skin shader. We have just a normal map and the very fast subsurface scatter, shader. I have used a preset and quickly just changed a couple of parameters, and I'm just going to render this using the old V-Ray subsurface scatter. So the first thing that you see is a couple of prepasses. These were for the irradiance map. Now we have another prepass which looks different, and this is the prepass used for the subsurface scatter. And now we have the actual rendering going on. You know, actually this is another prepass. And now we have the actual rendering, and I'm using the progressive image sampler because there is absolutely no good reason not to use the progressive image sampler. I would like to see my my image in the first in just a couple of seconds after starting the rendering. So one thing that you might notice is that it looks a little bit thick. Especially here on the ears, I would have expected more light to go through because they're really, really thin object. And we can do this with the old version, but I will have to increase the prepass rate, and this will make my render slower and a little bit harder to debug. And also, I will have to wait for a prepass. Now, what we did here was actually something that let me go to the GI and switch to the brute force, because I would want to for this to start right away and have no prepasses for the GI. However, still, even if I use brute force, and have no prepasses for the GI, I will still have at least one prepass for the subsurface scatter. So what's the one thing that we introduced is a new type of scattering, and that's the ray-traced scattering, which is entirely ray-traced, and there are no parameters for you to set up except for subdivisions. The good thing about this is that it will start the rendering immediately, and because I'm no longer, as you can see, there were no prepasses, the rendering started immediately, and because this is ray-traced, let me start use the track mouse while rendering. You will see that now the light goes all the way through the ears, and there is much more light intensity coming through these thin areas. Also, here and there, where the geometry gets thinner, you can see the red coming much more. And the red, this is red because my diffuse color and front surface scattering are set to bluish tint, and the scattering color is red, so whatever scatters is red. Another good thing about this new mode is that it actually works with the RT. So everything you change now is going to, and this is RT, now I switch to RT. So everything you change now, for example, let's change the scattering color to something like green, and you will see it immediately in the RT. You now don't have to wait for prepasses in order to look develop. You can just play around with the parameters as much as you want and find the result that you need. Also, you can use again the sampling or the track mouse or rendering to sample only in specific areas. And when you're done, you can just turn it off, and the whole image will be ray traced in its entirety. Excuse me. In my experience, I have seen that a lot of our, not a lot of our users, but some of our users were combining this the fast subsurface scatter shader with a V-Ray blend material in order to get more control, especially on the reflections, since here we have only one specular layer, and they decided that they needed some more layers. So what we did was actually introduce a new specialized shader, which is called a VRaySkin shader, or a VRaySkin material, I should say. Now, if I take a look at that one, oops. If we take a look at that one, you can see that it has 3 scattering layers, the shallow, medium, and deep scattering layers, and it has 2 specular layers, which are the primary and the secondary. Now let's quickly connect this to the bump slot and apply this to our model. I'm going to use the IPR or the RT the same way, and now you can see it in action. Let's quickly just show you how it works. I'm going to lower the shallow amount and the medium amount as well. So now we have just deep scattering, and this is the red color here. If I increase the shallow amount, you will see that I have a really thin scattering where the front lightning is. And if I increase the weight of the back one, and let's make it really obvious, blue versus red. Let's make it something like this. So you can see where I have where the front lightning is, so to say, or where there is a really thin scattering of 0.1 centimeters, and the red one is much deeper scattering, which goes all the way through the geometry of the object. So this way now you have much more control, and by setting, you have control, for example, for the skin, for some veins and some muscles, or under skin body fat, and the deep color is the one that will go all the way through the model. Of course, you can decide how this works with the radiuses of the three layers. Let's take a look at something else. I would say the new shaders combined with the fact that V-Ray RT now is actually a full production render and supports all the features will really speed up your process of doing your renderings and your light development. Now let's have a real quick look at something new. Here is a brand new dynamic primitive, and this is a dynamic. This is the V-Ray metaballs. Now I'm going to open a really heavy scene with quite a lot of particles, and straight away render. Now, the interesting thing about the V-Ray metaballs is that they are generated at render time, so you don't have to see the geometry inside of the viewport. You can just use any kind of particles, and in this case I'm using, by the way, proxy, which now reads Alembic, and it can read particles as well as here. So here I have a couple of proxy objects that are loading particles, and I'm generating the V-Ray metaballs based on the particles from these proxy objects. Also, this works with all the every particle system in Maya and in 3D Studio Max as well. And in this case, I have combined this with a facing ratio shader, and a little bit of depth of field, which gives this electronic microscope look. As you can see, it renders really, really quickly. And being a dynamic memory object, the V-Ray metabolts will not deplete your RAM, but they will obey the dynamic memory limit, which is right over here. So you control the memory efficiency, or actually V-Ray is so memory efficient that you can control exactly how much resources of your system these will take. Okay, so that's about it. Let's take a look at something more technical. And since we try to support we're really open to the open standards. We support Alembic now, as I said, in the proxies. We support OpenSuddiv. We support OpenEXR. We support open input-output color profiles. And then one of the next steps that we try to support is the open shading language, which gives you the ability to create shaders, to actually write your own shaders, if you're more technically oriented, of course. Now, using this technique, I have created a couple of matcap type of shading, or the one that's probably you're familiar in ZBrush, and you can create a variation of materials based on just a couple of textures. So if we take a look at the shaders, let's grab this network. So take a look at the node. Now I'm taking these files, these images of spheres, and based on these spheres, I can create. I read these, and this is my V-Ray. This is my OSL shader. And if we take a look at that one, we can really quickly see this. This is OSL shader, and we can take a look at the source code. And this is actually the shader, just a bunch of mathematical equations or instructions that allow us to read these spherical images and generate shaders out of this. So again, of course, V-Ray supports GLSL shaders, the writing shaders in GLSL as well. But since the OSL is a newer one, we decided to introduce this as well. Of course, we support DPXRs, we support OpenVDBs by rendering volumetrics effects from external programs. And the DPXR, I'm not really sure if I'll have the time to show this. So let's take something really quick, a look at this one, the vector displacement. And okay, so if I render this one really quickly, this is a relatively simple object, and I'm going to stop this. So I have taken this thing and sculpted it later on in Moodbox, from where I created a vector displacement map. So I'm just going to show you how this works. I just applied the vector displacement right over here, and for the sake of beauty, I'm going to assign another shader on that as well. So in just a couple of seconds, to prepare for the displacement, we get to this. Also, I went one step further, and if we take a look at that, and vector displacement, so yeah, that's the first one, and there's the second one. Oops, right over here. Here is another example of this one using a column. So from that one, we can go to this one by just changing one parameter, changing the displacement amount, and if we go ahead one step further, we can change the blending amount of the shader. So anywhere between the two will yield something in between with the V-Ray. Sorry. Okay. As you can see, this is halfway between the two objects. Okay, so let's try and move on. I really want to show you something more, you guys.
Okay, Simeon, one more thing, and then I think we'll have to answer some questions and
okay,
wrap it up. Great.
Absolutely. So, so this is a great thing for wrapping up. V-Ray has always had a render element called light select, and this is one of the this actually render element gives the contribution of a light into a separate rendering layer. So later on you can combine this and create a beauty pass out of this, but with the control of the individual lights later on in post. However, one thing missing from that was the GI, and in the version 3.0 we have included that as well. However, there is one condition on this: you have to be using the GPU rendering engine of V-Ray RT. So I'm going to render this thing, and in just a couple of seconds you will see how this looks like. Okay, so that's the rendering. We have alpha, which is full, of course, but we have the first light on a separate layer, the second light, and so on and so forth. So all the lights are being separated. And if I stop this and really quickly take a look at the final rendering, let's take a look at something. Oops, not this one. Sorry, the normal rendering. We can take a look at that composed in Nuke. Okay. Here it is. So by composing all of these lights one on top of each other, I have the ability to change their colors, to change their intensity if I want to later on in compositing without having to re-render. And because this is the final beauty render, everything works with the production quality, with the final quality that I left the final render with. So what's more, you can input any kind of render element right over here, and this makes the V-Ray RT in GPU production oriented as well. So you're not only limited to the CPU version of the RT if you want to use it as a production render. Now you can utilize your graphics, the power of your graphics card, in order to help your production. So you can render some shots with the needed render elements for compositing on the graphics card. And I think that I will have to wrap it up. So do we have some time so that I can answer the questions?
Yes, Simeon, that was illuminating. Yes, what a wrap. Let's finish answering those questions. I sent them to you, so you can pick and choose to your best.
All right. Let me just quickly take a look at that. Okay. There is a question related to to Maya fluid support. We do support rendering of fluids, and was that No motion blur because it doesn't support the velocity channel. I believe this will be addressed, but I'll have to double check with the developers. I'm not really sure. I can't make a definite answer to that. How was that? I'm not familiar with the Autodesk Maya program, but yes, the Maya is available for Mac, so you can go ahead and try that. Can you only render in Autodesk Maya, or you can make 3D models as well? Well, I believe this is not a very related question, but yes, you can do 3D models. You can make 3D models in Maya as well. The prepasses don't use the bucket splitting. No, actually on the contrary, the prepasses also make use of the dynamic splitting option. So except for the light cache, of course, because it doesn't use buckets. But actually, the prepasses buckets also obey now the track mouse of rendering. So even the prepass buckets are going to follow the mouse cursor and be splitting at the end as well. Does VRay advances in rendering particles in fluid? Not really sure how to answer that, but I can answer the second question. Does VRay support OpenVDB? Yes, as I told. You can render VDBs from here. So VRay create VRay volume grid, and once you create it, you can input your VDB format files from here, and you can render volumes generated from external program. Okay, does VRay 3 has XGen render support? Yes, we do support XGen. We still have some issues, so this is why VRay 3 is in beta. But for the final release, the support will be flawless. Then what do we have? What about vector displacement from ZBrush? Well, vector displacement from ZBrush is something that we're still talking with Pixelogic. There's some stuff that we need to communicate more on. And as soon as this is final, we will support vector displacement from ZBrush as well. Well, we good place to look for further documentation on DPXR. I would have to say Google on the DPXRs. There is actually a DPXR web page, which is especially for the DPXR. So go ahead and search on this one. Will there be any update on Phoenix safety with VRay? How Phoenix will be in the future? Well, we are constantly working on our product, so yes, Phoenix is also to be improved. Actually, it is improved, so don't worry. A new service pack, new versions are going to be released in time. Is there a built-in environment template that allows it to place the render in context setting around the rendered object? To place the rendering. I'm not really sure. If this is something like the background replacement in the VRay frame buffer, not to my knowledge, there is not an environment template, so you'll have to make your own. If this is what you mean. How do you choose simple light source for comp? How do you choose? Well. I don't understand the question, to be honest. So hopefully you can elaborate on that. A single right source. Not really sure. Can you show me how the workflow works of user radiance map with linked button use camera path on? I'm afraid we will not have time for this, but I encourage you to go on our help site. There are tutorials there which cover on these. So you can take a look at these there. Will there be support for Maya Ocean system? Well, since the Maya Ocean system is based on mental array, there is not much. I don't think we will support that because they're based on their shaders. However, you can try and take a look on the VRay Water, which ships with VRay. So it's a texture that is supposed to be plugged as a vector displacement map, and it has controls for creating an infinite ocean with control for wind and wind directions and so on and so forth. So you can try on this. You can try this one and take a look at if it works for you. One very important question: does VRay4 have the option to convert to mesh, so we can render it in other renders as well? That's a good question. I don't think this there is such an option. Since VRay4 is a dynamic object, you can convert it into a static object one, but there might be some workaround, but there is no explicit option at this time. So there is a clarification on other question. Mesh light turns black or just stop emit light and reveals the original material. You mean if you mean this one and here, if you mean if I lower the exposure of this light to lower than 1, you get to see a black spot right over here. This actually is because the light is visible in the viewport, so and in the render. So this is what the rays see finally, and they don't go further away. So there is no actually straightforward way to fix this. Probably you can hide your lights. If you make your lights invisible, then they will be you will see the wall behind that. So yeah, you will have the material of the wall. Another way to do this would be to create probably some a bit more complicated complex system with involving the mats. So I can think on this, and probably you can write to us at support at chaosgroup.com, and we can fix you. Why when irradiance map is powered on with the user irradiance why when irradiance map is powered on with the use camera path button does not work with VRaySkinMtl Subsurface Scatter? I could not find the user irradiance map in the... Oh, right, okay. Yeah, so this is something that we have been addressing. Yeah, there is no checkbox on the user irradiance map in the VRaySkinMtl Subsurface Scatter. It will be, or in the worst case scenario, there is now, if you go into the object properties, and you can assign this to your object, and in the moment I created, you can see here we have now user irradiance map in the object properties. So this will cover this on a per object basis, independent from the shader. So now you can, doesn't matter what kind of shader your object is using, is it a VRaySkinMtl Subsurface Scatter or any other of the materials. Now you can do this on the object or a couple of objects at the same time. I hope this gets you covered. And since VRay supports Yeti rendering, does VRay 3 have support for coloring per strand basis, which was not there in previous versions? Currently, we do support random coloring by using, if it opens up, the sampler, the VRay hair sampler. So it gives you a couple of outputs. Let's take a look at that. We have the out color and the random by strand. So now you can have random by strand, which is a kind of what you're asking. And the other way would be to use the output color or the hair color, the hair color, and this is the color that Yeti generates. So you can script this one or create an expression inside of the Yeti node graph, and that will be the color that is going to be picked up from this slot of the hair sampler. So yeah, basically you either have random by strand, or you can set this up in the Yeti node graph and use it as well. And I think I covered all the questions.
Yes, Simeon, you were a pro. Didn't I tell you all? This presentation was flawless. It covered everything, and I hope you guys will invest in will get the 2.4 version and then wait for the upgrade, and you can get it easily and save some money too.
Absolutely.
So, and I know Simeon is told me they're perfecting the software and they're doing their best to release something that it's really flawless. So that's great. It shows really commitment. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, just I wanted to finish with this note. The VRay is community. The development of VRay is really community driven. So we guys try to we try to listen to you guys, and whatever you need, we try to implement it in the next version, in the service pack or whatever. So just keep us informed on what you need in the forums and using the contacts, all available contacts from our site, and we'll do our best to find the solution for each and every one of you.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time.
Yes, I think they did it. I think they did it today just by asking these questions. I think they sparked some ideas, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. So I'm going to go back to myself as a presenter. So hopefully you can see my screen in a few seconds. Okay, from the Novedge team, thank you all for attending. I want to remind you all to take advantage of our offer, as I told you on the Novedge webpage. You can get VRay 2.4 for Maya now with the free upgrade to the new version and 2 render nodes when the new version comes out. And also check out chaosgroup.com for news, events, and testimonial, and to enter those forums Simeon was talking about. Also visit the Novedge blog for great content and like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. In our next webinar, we will have 3D light renderings with Vectorworks Spotlight. This webinar will cover the powerful functions and tools that Vectorworks 2014 offers designers as they take an idea from the conceptual to the final stage of execution. If you miss something, you can catch it all on the Novedge Vimeo or YouTube channel, because all our webinars are recorded, and you can go back and see what you missed, so you don't have to wonder anymore. Thank you so much, Simeon, for this wonderful presentation. Looking forward to many more webinars with you.
Thank you for your organization, and thanks you all guys for your time.
Thank you and goodbye.
Bye-bye.